Hello guys, hope all of you well. So today's video is about powers and roots, and in this video we'll be looking at indices जिसमें हम basic indices के rules देखेंगे. Then we'll be moving on and doing how to deal with roots and how to deal with powers and roots. Then by the end we'll be doing another important subtopic, that is rationalizing. फिर उसके बाद we will be solving a few questions together. So without any delay, let's just start. So first of all, let me just define. If I write an expression, a term that is 4x to the power of 3. So what is 4 in this? The 4 is the coefficient of x. And what is x in this? Basically, x is the base or the variable, and 3 is the power of the variable. Alright, so this is what each thing in this term stands for. Okay, so now let's just come to the first rule of indices, that is, if a base is a to the power of m multiplied by a to the power of n. So in this case, the bases are same, so that means we can add the powers. So m plus n. तो अब क्या हो जाएगा, a to the power of 2 multiply by a to the power of 3 अगर लिख देता हूँ, so that means it can become a to the power of 5. Base can be anything. Base can be like Shahir times Shahir, Shahir square times Shahir square. So that Shahir to the power of 5, let's suppose, would be, so Shahir times Shahir. Shahir is the base over here and it's same, so powers can add and it can become Shahir times 7. So now let's just come to the second rule, that if the bases are same and are dividing, same bhi ho or divide bhi ho rahi ho, so the powers can be subtracted. So now let's just move on to the third rule, that is, if a to the power of m to the whole power n, so that means it would result in a into product of m and n. That means if 2 to the power of 2 to the whole power of 3, so that means it will become 2 to the power of 6. Or we can just do it with a variable as well. Let's suppose it's x square to the whole power of cube, so that means it will become x to the power of 6. Alright, let's move on to the fourth rule, that is, if a to the power of 0, if a is the base and the power is 0, so that means it is always 1. So that means anything to the power of 0 is 1. Let's suppose if it's z to the power of 0, it's 1. Let's suppose if it's shahir to the power of 0, it's 1. Alright, so anything to the power of 0 is always 1. Okay, so now let's just move on to the next thing, that is, if it's anything, if it's a to the power of 1, so that means this is also equals to 1. So it could be anything, the base could be anything for this one as well. So if it's x to the power of 1, तो ये भी 1 के बराबर होगा. Alright, now let's just move on to the next rule. So if the bases are different but the powers are equal, then it is equals to the product of AB to the whole power of n. So that means if it's given to us that 2 to the power of 2 and 3 to the power of 2. So that means now the bases are different, but still we can simplify it how like this, that 2 multiplied by 3 to the whole power of 2, that means it will be equals to 6. 6 square is 36. And even if we solved it like by doing it separately, so it would have become 4 multiplied by 9, that is also equals to 36. So let's just move on to the next rule, that is rule number 7. So if it's written that a to the power of minus n, so this means that 1 over a to the power of positive n. So that means whenever there is a negative power, we need to reciprocate it to make it positive. So that means if it's written that 1 upon a to the power of n, so this would be equal to minus a to the power minus n. So whenever there is a power is being a base is being reciprocated, the sign in the power changes. What I am saying is कि जब भी कभी मैं बेस को डिनोमिनेटर से न्यूमरेटर में लाऊंगा या फिर न्यूमरेटर से डिनोमिनेटर में लाऊंगा, I'd be changing the powers. So let's just move on to the eighth rule, that is under root of a. So basically, whenever a number or a variable is written with a root, that means this is written in its radical form. अब radical form से दूसरी form में जाने के लिए what do we need to do? The second form, the other form, is basically the exponent form. So what is exponent form? The exponent form is that in this case, whenever there is so in this case, the power on a is 1 and this root has nothing written over here. That means it's a square root. So मतलब है यहाँ पे जब कुछ नहीं लिखा तो 2 लिखा हुआ है. So that means this is what is written. So I can convert this into another form that is called an exponent form. So this is an exponent form. अब इसका क्या law है? Let's just look into that. So first, before that, let's just look into a few more examples. So if it would have been written a to the power of 2 and over here it is written that it's a cube root. So into its exponent form, it would have become a to the power of 2 over 3. If it would have been written that a to the power of 4 and 5, so it would be a to the power of 4 over 5. If it's written that a to the power of 3 and root of 7, so that means it would become 3 to the power of 7. So now let's just make a rule out of it, and that is that whenever it is written that a to the power of m with a root with nth root, so it would become a to the power of m over n. So this is the radical form. If this is the radical form, this would be the exponent form. So whenever we need to convert from roots to exponents or root to fractions of the powers, so this is what we are going to do. So the ninth rule is basically whenever it's written that so whenever it's written that a to the power m over n equal to b, तो अगर अब मुझे इस पावर को b के ऊपर लेकर आना है, so what is going to happen with the power? The power is going to reciprocate and it would become n over m. So using this rule, what we are going to do, we are going to solve roots. How? For example, if it's written that under root of a is equals to 2, अब ये कौन सा रूट है? This is a square root. So when this is a square root, so that means अब इसका जो fraction बनेगा exponent form में convert होगा, इस तरह से हो जाएगा. So now whenever I'm going to bring this power on this side of the equal to, whenever the power is going to change the side of the equal to, so that means the power is going to reciprocate and it will going to become 2. So that means this will be equals to 4. All right. So now let's just move on. So this is the ninth rule. Okay. So now let's just move on to the 10th rule. 10th rule is also about dealing with roots. So for example, if it's written that under root of a plus under root of a. So whenever we are dealing with roots, so before that, I just like to, make it a little easier. So dealing with roots. अब जब भी कभी roots के साथ deal करना है, so that means we are going to treat roots as if they are variables, मतलब इनको छेड़ना ही नहीं है, इनके साथ जो कोफिशिएंट्स हैं उनको छेड़ लो मगर इनको नहीं कुछ भी बोलो. सो दैट मीन्स अगर आप अंडर रूट ए प्लस अंडर रूट ए दिया हुआ है तो मतलब है वी नीड टू ट्रीट दिस अंडर रूट ए एंड अंडर रूट ए लाइक अ वेरिएबल. तो मतलब इनके कोफिशिएंट्स क्या है, इनके कोफिशिएंट्स 1 और 1 है, तो अब ये ऐड हो रहे हैं तो सिर्फ कोफिशिएंट्स ऐड हो जाएंगे, वेरिएबल अपनी जगह पे ही रहेगा. So this is what adding of root is like. And only like roots can be added or subtracted. उसके अलावा नहीं हो सकता. So let's move on to the 11th rule. Keeping this thing in mind that whenever we are dealing with the roots, we just need to make sure that we treat the roots as if they are variables. So let's just move on to the next rule, that is what happens when the roots are multiplied. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर अब इन दोनों को मल्टीप्लाई करना है, सही है, तो व्हेन आई हैव टू मल्टीप्लाई दिस, सो इनके लिए क्या रूल यूज हो जाएगा, लेट्स जस्ट कन्वर्ट इट इनटू द एक्सपोनेंट फॉर्म लाइक दिस. तो यार देखो अब दोनों बेसिस सेम है, पावर्स को ऐड होना चाहिए, तो हाफ प्लस हाफ वुड गिव यू 1, तो ए टू द पावर ऑफ 1. सो व्हाट इफ it would have been different values under a root? So if it would have been under root a multiplied by under root b, सो इन दिस केस अब क्या होगा, अब यार क्या होगा, बेसिकली ए के ऊपर पावर है 1/2 मल्टीप्लाई बी के ऊपर पावर है 1/2. सो दैट मीन्स नाउ द पावर्स आर सेम, दैट मीन्स आई कैन राइट इट लाइक दिस, आई कैन मल्टीप्लाई the two different values or two different terms or two different variables and and take a common power like this, and it would become equal to under root a b or ab half. All right, let's just move on to the next rule. Rule number is, what is the rule number? That is, if it's written that, okay, so which is 13. तो भाई 13 क्या बोलता है, अब 13 बोलता है कि इफ इट्स अंडर रूट ए ओवर अंडर रूट बी. अब क्या सीन है, इसके ऊपर भी हाफ पावर है, इसके ऊपर भी हाफ पावर है, इवन दो लाइक इट्स द वेरिएबल्स आर डिफरेंट. So then now what it can become is a over b with the whole power of 1/2, and it would be under root of a over b if you want to write it in the radical form. Now I'll just teach that how do we solve a root or how do we simplify a root. मतलब root को solve कैसे करना है, उसको simplify कैसे करना है. So that means if it's given to me that under root of 64, अब यार अंडर रूट ऑफ 64 का मतलब है दैट दिस इज अ स्क्वायर रूट. तो अब इसके लिए क्या करना है, इसको सॉल्व करने के लिए हमें करना क्या है, हमें पहले प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करनी है. सो दैट मीन्स इट्स गोइंग टू बिकम 2 into 32, 2 into 16, 2 into 8, 2 into 3, 2 into 4, 2 into 2 and 2 into 1. So that means this is going to become 2 in, अगर इसकी प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करो 64 की, so this is going to become 2 into 2, basically 6 times 2 is multiplying with itself. So now since it's a square root, so I will make the pairs of 2 and bring each out. तो अब इस पेयर से क्या बाहर आएगा, इस पेयर से 2 will come out, इस पेयर से 2 will come out, and इस पेयर से भी एक 2 बाहर आ जाएगा. So now the final answer would be 8. अब इसी तरह if it would have been a cube root, अगर क्यूब रूट होता तो what we would have done is बेसिकली इस तरह से लिखा हुआ होती कोई चीज. सो दैट मीन्स अब ये 2 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 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 2 इस तरह की कोई चीज दी होती. अब क्यूब रूट है तो क्यूब रूट का मतलब है कि हमें 3 3 के पेयर बनाने पड़ेंगे. अगर फोर्थ रूट होता तो 4 4 के पेयर बनाने पड़ते, अगर फिफ्थ रूट होता तो फिर हमें 5 5 के पेयर बनाने पड़ते. बट सिंस ये क्यूब रूट है तो हमें 3 3 के पेयर बनाने, इनको एक बाहर ले आओ और इसमें से एक बाहर ले आओ. So that means the final answer would have been 4. Up now, let's just look at a case where it's not a perfect root. That means what I'm saying is, for example, up now 18, under root of 18. So under root of 18 would look something like this. Under root of 18. So it would look like, up now, since it's not a perfect square root, but still what we're going to do is we're going to do the prime factorization. So in this case we need to find out basically हमें under root of 8 क्यों square root of 18 ढूंढना है. तो अगर हमें अब 18 is not a perfect square that we all of us know, लेकिन फिर भी इसकी prime factorization कर लो, so it would become 8 2 9s are 3 3s are and 3 1s are. So the prime factorization of it is 3 into 3 into 2, right? So now, how many pairs so what do? We make the maximum pairs that we can pick. So how many pairs can we make in this? We can just make one pair that is also of this 3. So this 3 will come out and this 2 will stay inside, and this is how it will look. So let's suppose if it would have been given to me that the cube root of 56. So in the case of this, what we're going to do, all of us know that the cube root of 56 is not like a perfect integer, right? So because 56 is not a cube of any number. So 56 इसका क्यूब रूट निकालना है, तो भाई क्या करेंगे, इसको प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करेंगे. 2 into 28, 2 into 14, 2 into 7, and 7 into 1. So that means this is going to become 2 into 2 into 2 into 7. So now what is going to happen? Since it's a cube root, so what we are going to do is we are going to make a maximum pair of 3 numbers if it is there. So that means 2 का एक pair बन जाएगा, and this is going to become like this, 2 under cube root 7. That's all. That's how we simplify a root. Okay. So now let's solve this question together. Question क्या बोल रहा है? Question says that a अब whole power पे square है, तो 16 को भी square दे दो, a को भी 6 बना दो, b को भी 8 बना लो, and then this is going to become 16 a to the power of minus 4 हो जाएगा and c to the power of 4 हो जाएगा. Then this is going to become 16 square into a to the power of 7, b to the power of 8 over 16 a to the power of minus 4 and c to the power of 4. So now अब देखो यार 16 के पास तो ऊपर 2 है, तो एक नीचे से कैंसिल कर लो, we'll be left with 16. 7 bases same, powers dividing minus minus 4, b को 8 ही रखते हैं, c को भी ऊपर ले आते हैं, and let's just make it a negative power minus 4. So then it's going to become a 7 plus 4 and b 8 and c minus 4. So which option is it? I think it's B. So let's just take B. बस थोड़ा सा confusing है, C की जगह इन्होंने change की भी है. So question 8 says that x to the power negative 1 upon 2 into y to the power 5 upon 2 to the whole power of 0. So that means if it's the whole power of 0, that means it's going to become 1. And then in the denominator, it would just stay whatever it is. And then the final answer, of course, it's not in the form of fraction. That means they are reciprocating. So it is going to become minus 5 or ye minus 3. So that means again, B is an answer. So guys, now let's just look at this question. Question 9. Question 9 says that 2 to the power of 5. This is what question 9 is. So that means we're going to first of all, we're going to convert it into the from radical form to exponent form. So it's going to become m over n wala rule. So 2, 5 over 3. I think that's all. That's what the answer is also. The question is also asking for. So D is the answer. Okay guys, so let's just look at question number 11. Question 11 says that under root of 48, since all of us know that 40 is not a perfect square root, so what we're going to do, we're going to again do the prime factorization of this. So it's going to become 224, 212, 26, 23, and 3, 1. So that means it's going to become 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. So now it's a square root, so we're going to make pairs of 2, and this 3 will be left behind. So that means it's going to become 4 under root 3. And that's what is going to be the answer of this. All right. Let's look at this question. अब इस question में the bases of the roots that are 16 is like same. So that means if I convert it into radical form from to exponent form from radical, so the bases are same, powers are going to add, half plus half becomes 1, so 16 to the power of 1. That means B is the answer. So let's look at question number 13. It says that under root of 7 multiplied by under root of 13. So now both of them are not perfect square roots, but if we convert them into the exponent form, the powers of both the numbers are going to be same. So that means we're going to make the powers as the whole powers and multiply the two numbers. So 13 sevens are 91 to the whole power of 1 upon 2. Again, the answer is written in the radical form. So it would just become under root 91. That is this. So now let's just look at this one. It says that under root 20 plus under root 45. अब यार देखो, I told you that the roots are to be treated as a variable, but now even the variables are not same. One is 20, the other one is 45. So now what can we do is we can simplify a root, because in this case ये square roots तो है नहीं, तो completely cancel तो होंगे नहीं roots, मतलब इसको simplify कर सकते हैं. अब अंडर रूट 20 क्या होता है? अंडर रूट 20 होता है 4 अंडर रूट 5, 4 अंडर रूट 5, 2 अंडर रूट 5. सो 2 अंडर रूट 5 ये हो गया. अंडर रूट 45 होता है 3 अंडर रूट 5. हाउ डिड आई डू दैट? अब देखो यार, 4 5 आर 20, तो 4 का परफेक्ट स्क्वायर क्या होता है? 2. स्क्वायर रूट 2 होता है, तो 2 बाहर आ गया और अंडर रूट 5 अंदर रह गया. और 45 क्या होता है? 9 इंटू 5, तो 9 किसका स्क्वायर रूट होता है? 3 का, तो 3 बाहर आ गया, अंडर रूट 5 हो गया. So this is the trick that how I quickly solved it. Now, since the variables have become, the roots have become the same, so now that means the variables are same. We can add the coefficients and find out the final answer. So 5 under root 5. So इसका आंसर हो जाएगा B. So guys, let's look at question number 40. Question 40 states that under root 3 minus under root 7 to the whole power of 2. So now it means that there are, how do we expand it? Because we need to expand it to find out the final answer. And since I told you that under roots are to be treated as variables, so let's suppose this is one variable and this is another variable. So that means it's just written that a माइनस बी होल स्क्वायर, स्क्वायर से समझ लो, या फिर अगर यहाँ पे प्लस होता तो a प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर होता. सो नाउ हाउ डू वी एक्सपैंड इट? वी आर गोइंग टू एक्सपैंड इट बाय यूजिंग द आइडेंटिटी. अब आइडेंटिटी क्या है? a क्या है? अंडर रूट 3 है, तो उस पर होल स्क्वायर लगा लो. फिर a क्या है? 2 अंडर रूट 3 इंटू अंडर रूट 7 प्लस अंडर रूट 7 whole square. So this is going to become 3 into 2 into under root 3 into under root 7 is under root 21 plus 7. So now this is going to become 10 minus 2 under root 21. So now this is B, C is the answer. Alright guys, let's look at question number 32. So in question number 32, what is happening is we need to find out the value of A. That is, we need to make A the subject. So in order to do that, we need to move everything that is there with A on the other side of the equal to. So first of all, we'll just take this minus 8. It would become plus 8. Then it would be 5A plus 6 equal to minus 2 plus 6, 8. That is 6. Then I can also write this root into the power of 1 upon 2 because it's a square root. And why is it necessary? Because I need to move this power on this side of the equal to. That means it's going to reciprocate as well. So 5a plus 6 equals to 6 square. Then it's going to become 5a plus 6 equals to 36. Then it's going to become 5a equals to 36 minus 6. Then it's going to become 30 over 5, which is 6. So the answer is going to be C. So if you're given with a question that is solve 1 over under root of 3. So if we put this value in the calculator, the answer is going to be same. That means the question is already in its simplified form. But we can never leave the answer in the form where there is a denominator, where there is a root in the denominator. So in order to fix that, because that is highly unacceptable कि अगर किसी आंसर के डिनोमिनेटर में रूट आ जाए, तो उसको रिमूव करने के लिए व्हाट आर वी गोइंग टू डू, उसके लिए हम करते हैं रैशनलाइजिंग. अब रैशनलाइजिंग का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, इट इज देयर टू रिमूव द रूट्स फ्रॉम द डिनोमिनेटर्स, फ्रॉम द डिनोमिनेटर्स. ठीक है जी. तो नाउ अब इस चीज को सही करने के लिए व्हाट टेक्निक डू वी यूज. तो यार देखो, 1/√3 दिया हुआ है. नाउ इट मीन्स दैट दिस फ्रैक्शन इज ऑलरेडी मल्टीप्लाइंग बाय 1, राइट. 1 से मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा है. सो इफ आई मल्टीप्लाई this fraction by another fraction of -√3 over -√3, तो अभी भी तो ये 1 ही होगा, क्योंकि अगर इफ को मैं दोनों को कैंसिल कर दूं, so I still have a 1, right? So that means this this is not different than this. मतलब दोनों बराबर ही हैं, दोनों में कोई फर्क नहीं है. तो जब दोनों में कोई फर्क नहीं है, so that means we can either write this or this. तो अब जब ये कर दिया, so now can I write it as 1 multiplied by -√3 and 3 multiply √3 multiplied by -√3. So in the numerator it's going to become -√3, and in the denominator it's going to become -3. Why? Because √3 multiply होकर 3 बनेंगे, वो हम पहले पढ़ चुके हैं, and माइनस का साइन तो आएगा. So minus minus cancels out, so the final answer is √3/3. So this is what, so now you can see that the final answer is √3/3. Denominator से रूट हट गया, ऊपर आ गया. So this is the concept that is called rationalizing. सही है. So what did we do? Basically बस ये पता है कि फ्रैक्शन 1 से मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा होगा. फ्रैक्शन तो ऑफ कोर्स होगा ही, क्योंकि डिनोमिनेटर में रूट है, उसको फिक्स करना है. तो 1 से मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा है. सो व्हाट डू यू डू कि डिनोमिनेटर के कॉन्जुगेट से या फिर डिनोमिनेटर के ऑपोजिट साइन से एक फ्रैक्शन बना के मल्टीप्लाई कर दो. तो बेसिकली यू डिड द सेम थिंग एंड you find out your answer this way. So let's just look another example for rationalizing. So in this case now it's √5 over √3. So what do we need to do? We just know that कि ये fraction 1 से तो multiply हो ही रहा है. That means I can also multiply it by the negative sign of the denominator of the original fraction, और इसके fraction से multiply कर दो. मतलब √3 के फ्रैक्शन से मल्टीप्लाई कर दो. √3 over √3 से मल्टीप्लाई करो, बट जस्ट मेक श्योर दैट यू डोंट फॉरगेट टू पुट अ नेगेटिव साइन. सो नाउ √5 multiply by negative √3 over √3 into negative √3. So now this is going to become negative √15 over -3, and minus minus cancel, and this is going to become 15 over 3. That's all. So let's look at another example, and in this example it's 1 over √7 plus √2. So now we need to rationalize, because again we need to remove these roots from the denominator. अब क्या करेंगे? अब देखो यार, ये 1 से मल्टीप्लाई तो हो रहा है, तो इसको 1 की जगह √7 माइनस √2 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दो. मतलब अब पहले क्या था कि यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव नंबर था, तो उसको नेगेटिव कर दिया. तो यहाँ पे भी एक ऐड हो रहे थे, अब इनको सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दिया. सो इसकी नेचर को चेंज कर दो. अब क्या है? 7 माइनस √2. बट व्हाट वी नीड टू मेक श्योर कि यार देखो, जो ऊपर रख रहे हो ना वही नीचे रखो, सो दैट इट कैंसल्स आउट एंड बिकम 1. मतलब अगर √7 माइनस √2 कर रहे हो, तो √7 माइनस √2. अगर यहाँ पे नेगेटिव √3 कर रहे हो, तो नीचे भी नेगेटिव √3 करो, बिकॉज वो कैंसिल होके 1 बनना चाहिए. नेगेटिव 1 भी नहीं बनना चाहिए, 1 बनना चाहिए, पॉजिटिव 1. सो नाउ अगेन लेट्स जस्ट solve it. So under root 7 minus under root 2 over under root 7 plus under root 2 into under root 7 minus under root 2. So now this is going to become negative 7 under root and negative 2 under root, and then this is going to become this. Okay, so this is a plus b, a minus b. So that means the third identity, we can factorize it and it can become under root 7 whole square minus under root 2 whole square, a square minus b square. So then it is going to become under root 7 under root 2, and root is going to cancel this with this square, so it will be 7 minus 2. That means it can become under root 7 minus under root 2 over 5, or you can also write it in the form of under root 7 over 5 minus under root 2 over 5. That is going to be the final answer. So guys, this is it for powers and roots, and I just want you guys to practice all the questions that are there in the worksheet, because in the video I just covered the concept. अब जो exam type questions है ना that are there in the worksheet, just go and practice those, and inshallah by the end of the worksheet you will have a firm grip on this topic, inshallah. So that's all for the day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.